Yo!
Yayo Talk Show!
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Molly.
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Marco.
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Katie.
Dreamin'!
Al's name didn't fit. They talk about the show, this group of four friends been going for 1,000,000 years, there's no end. Watching every arc and saga, no sleep. It's the king of anime, 1,000 episodes deep.
Yayo Talk Show!
Talking about One Piece.
It's the name of the podcast.
We're not on Vine. Yayo Talk Show. Talking about
One Piece.
What's up, wenches, privateers, and non-binary buccaneers? Welcome aboard the most chaotic One Piece podcast on the Grand Line-ternet. After talking about the attack on Marineford and seeing what it took to make a dent in the forces of the Marines, to the beginning of this movie showing what the power of one pirate's crew can do as opposed to the legions of Whitebeard pirates, and all involved show immediately sets up Shiki, the lion, as one of the strongest foes that Luffy and the Straw Hat crew have ever faced. Let's talk about One Piece Movie 10, Strong World.
Strong World!
Let's introduce you to the crew. First, the captain of the Kuruno Pirates, Molly D. Simpy.
It's me. I'm really excited to talk about this one. Sorry.
This one's been building up for a long time.
Yeah.
Wild theorist Kaden Jensen.
We finally get to sit down, watch a movie as a crew again. It's been nice.
Yay,
It has been a while. It's been a while. Ladies and gentlemen, the Laughborg, Al McClelland.
It's me! And also, this movie's pretty good. It's
Pretty good movie. It's a pretty
probably
good
why I
movie.
just knew.
And I'm the internet's gentleman, Mark B. Donica. The B, of course, stands for
Mr.
Bonesman.
Bonesman.
That's the Bonesman.
Marvelous Bananica.
Bonesman
It's-
guarantee.
Okay, I didn't want to bring this up yet, but Caden just made me have to ask this question. There are some iconic looks in this film.
Yeah.
Absolutely iconic looks.
Banana gun hat. Banana gun hat.
Banana gun hat!
Frankie's banana gun hat is arguably the most forward, sensible piece of outfit.
Functional. Stylish.
And it fits. And also, like, they never showed a shot of Frankie putting it on or off, but I imagine it just went thump onto his pompadour
Yeah.
out front and just like perfectly.
Well, I love that, like, in the beginning, you see him just wearing it. No comments. Everyone's just used to Frankie being Frankie at this point. Like, nothing but love and respect. But I also love at the very end of this movie, you see him tinkering with it a little bit. And it's just like,
He's fixing the banana gun hat.
Usopp
It
was
wasn't firing
tinkering
right.
with a pineapple gun hat. So it was a thing of, I see this banana hat, I gotta have one of my own. He's like, you can't copy my style. You gotta get fresh with it.
You know what's fresher than a pineapple, right?
no, you can copy my homework, but change it a little bit, Usopp.
So I wanted to ask off the bat, like before we get into like quote unquote serious plot things, what was everybody's favorite look from this movie?
Oh, please me.
Kaden,
Please,
go
please.
first.
Please. There's a scene near the very end of the movie. Near the very end of the movie. And the whole crew is rolling up Sans Nami.
Yeah.
And they're all wearing, like, they're just decked
So
out in
Well,
these-
they
just this,
Fucking
like,
cool.
they look, they're all, like, they're dressed
Mafia.
up. They look so good. They're so sleek. They got got the button-up shirts. They got the nice jackets. They got all
Got
this.
silver chains.
the guns.
There's
the
one
guns.
thing that I have to complain about those outfits, though. They gave Usopp a pinstripe suit, which absolutely freaking incredible.
Oh,
Let's
thank you.
go.
I thought you were gonna have like something else. I was like, oh no, he pulled the pinstripes off wonderfully.
The thing is, he did, but he dared to cover it up with the Kabuto armor. It's like, I get that you're afraid. But look, this is all about style, Usopp. This is all about style. You gotta put the armor outside. You gotta leave it down.
He did. Yeah, you're right. You're
Style
right.
and function because Chopper, whatever Chopper had, was form-fitting and adjusted
yeah.
to whatever size he was in.
I always thought that
Yes.
was so funny though, because he gives Nami his coat later, and the coat is like longer than Nami, so it's like a blanket basically. But you see when he like transforms into a little guy, it's like obviously a little coat, or when he's like in deer form and he's
a
like
little coat.
reindeer form, so he's wearing, it's like how does dog wear pants meme, like this or like this. But no,
Oh, that's right, because he went quadrupedal as they were riding away. That's
Usopp was
true.
riding him.
It's just, there's the fact that like there's a shot of Robin holding this like giant cannon-sized pistol and wearing this like, very like mafia-style like suit and
Yep.
just nonchalantly just mowing down these pirates. I'm just like, oh, that's amazing. Immediately cut directly to Brooke wearing something very similar and just going,
I love that everybody.
I'm just like,
Brooke is
I
an
love
icon.
these two characters for completely different reasons.
I love that like everyone is very quietly, even Luffy is quietly shooting off the gun, and then when they cut to Brooke, he's laughing.
He's just laughing. It's just like,
Like I
Let's
want
go.
to I want to keep talking about fashion because I think that's fun.
Yes.
But just something to keep in mind is if this has a place in canon, the only place it can go is right after they find Brooke.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
technically would be Brooks just like, oh, we're already on another adventure. I get to go absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it would be like before Djibouti.
Djibouti.
No, I love it so much. I love it too because like Robin makes a point to be like, got it. Like there's a dress code. You got it. Like I'll remember that. Don't worry. And then Robin's like, hey yo, there's a dress code. Everybody shut up. Get dressed up. Here we go. No, it's funny. I actually got to go see a movie Kane will eventually get to watch called One Piece Stampede. It's the current. I want to say it's the current newest One Piece movie.
It is. It's the newest movie.
Yeah, so I got to go see the
cool,
premiere.
I'll see you there in a decade.
I know. I got to go see the premiere of it though out in LA from a mutual friend of Mark and mine.
So
And
jealous.
somebody afterwards there was kind of like a time to mill around and drink and take photos and talk to people and stuff. And the friend that took me, Katie, she introduced me to somebody. I can't remember his name right now, but he was actually in cosplay of Luffy's outfit from this movie, and I knew instantly. I knew what he was referencing, and he was blown away. He was like he was getting references to something else. I don't remember what it was, but I knew exactly what he was cosplayed for. It's a good look, man. I'd steal it too.
It's a great look. Before I reveal what the correct answer is, Al, did you have a favorite outfit, a favorite look?
I gotta say, Frankie's bomber jacket's really cool, but my absolute favorite thing is Luffy's like aviator cap with a straw hat.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The
jammed
double
on top.
hat thing. I
Double
was
hat.
just like, double
Him
hat. He's
and
feeling it.
Chapper. This is like I feel like this is the first time. Well, maybe not the first time. I feel like Oda has drawn Luffy in a similar hat situation on many chapter covers, like color pieces. But I feel like it's like one of the first times he's starting to push it with him and Chopper, though. Like even Chopper's wearing a double hat in this.
I mean, speaking of Chopper, the correct answer is Piggy Chopper. At the very beginning,
Very beginning.
of the movie, he's just got like a simple like terry cloth pig bathrobe.
They
and he's
clearly
the
like went
cutest
swimming right before because Luffy's in swim trunks and a towel and stuff.
Post Swimmy's Chopper is the
Yeah.
winner of the outfit competition. I
So
just like
cute.
this is also a wonderful opportunity for anybody who hasn't seen the movie yet. Now you have to go watch the movie before we like completely talk through everything.
Have we sold it to you yet? Because you guys need to go watch it now.
Especially because like I know we've skipped a couple of movies for very good reason, especially if you haven't watched them. But
still have not.
if
Yeah,
there's
me too.
there's one more thing that could possibly entice you to watch this movie, the running gag of the same bartender from Dead End Adventure
Yeah.
appears in this movie.
I know that we talked about it recently, but I absolutely forgot. And then when he appeared again, I was like, oh, it was like I knew him. I was like, I know him.
Like there has to be a bar in every movie so that it's like Oda's favorite
man.
extra of like, all right, it's like what's his name? Clint, it's like
Scruffy the
Clint
janitor
Howard.
of
Scruffy the janitor, Clint Howard.
I hear ya.
Take your pick. But yeah,
Scruffy.
but ultimately, this is the first film that Oda had a hand in writing, and you can tell the shift because this is called One Piece Film 10 Strong World. And this is the beginning of the trend of One Piece Film, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And so with Oda taking over some of the writing stuff, there are elements of this that are canon. There are stories that we hear both in the manga and in the anime, stuff that we see first maybe in one place and then it gets explained here. So this started the sort of nebulous place of, well, maybe movies can be canon. Ultimately, I thought this was a pretty good time. But I want to hear from everybody else, and I'm sure everybody, let's talk about this bloody movie. Who wants to give their initial thoughts first?
I can go first.
Molly, please.
Okay,
Captain?
great. It's like I mean, aside from Baron, which I believe is the last movie we just talked about. I mean that movie is rightfully placed upon the pedestal above us, very, very, very high. So high it's out of reach. It's a very, very good movie. I feel like this is such a fun movie, and immediately the tone is so different. It was like my very first thought rewatching this for the first time in a while is that even in the beginning, the very first shots we see with Luffy and they're trying to explain the situation on the island visually to the viewers, it's like a complete tonal shift, right? It's like all of these elements that we're seeing normally would be like Luffy would be like, Suge, like he would be so excited and pumped for. But like Luffy is like running and he's not laughing, right? It's very serious immediately that he's not like, I mean, this is so exciting, right? They're on these different islands. There's these fighting, like there's a fighting animal at every turn.
He's getting chased by Flatfoot Friday.
Yeah, it's just like it's all of these elements that from what we know of Luffy, and we've been on this adventure with Luffy for, the quote unquote half of One Piece. It's just like, I just thought it was like so impactful that he wasn't laughing or having a good time. And even when it was his turn to fight, like when all the animals like stopped beating each other up and they were like, oh, hey, this guy's here, I'm going to fight this guy. It also like isn't an easy win for Luffy. Like the bear fights back, he's got to go into third gear. And I just feel like comparatively to the other movies we've watched, it was like super obvious to me that Oda wrote this, because I feel like even that small change of having Luffy be very serious in the beginning comes from a different writing perspective than somebody being like, oh yeah, I love One Piece. Luffy, he's the goofy one. I'll have him be goofy. You know what I mean? Like, which is why I don't know. I think I gravitate towards this movie a lot. This Baron is my absolute favorite movie, but even rewatching this one, I was reminded of this is probably the second most times I've watched a One Piece movie. I've watched this one almost as much as the Baron one because I just enjoy it so much. But yeah, in terms of story, in terms of tone, I don't know. I think it fits so well too with where we are arc-wise, talking about Marineford, because like you don't mess with a man's Nakama, you know what I mean? And it's fun too. I don't know.
There's a lot of sort of this being a recap kind, like there's a lot of elements that I think were pulled from previous stories to sort of make a greatest hits emotionally, and using stuff that the fans are familiar with in order to get certain like emotions out of them, certain remembrances. Like we were talking about the formal attire that everybody was wearing on the attack. Did anybody think that Nami's looked just a little too familiar?
Yeah.
It looked like Shindri's from a little, because it was a black dress with a pink boa, which at the very least is something that, at least to me, evokes similar feelings of, like, we already care for Nami, but on top of that, we are getting this sort of visual simile of the type of treatment that, at least for the very little bit, like, you're immediately brought back to that place of, oh, we didn't know Shindri, but we knew that she was in a very, very, very bad situation, and we get
Hogback
that sort of.
sucks.
Oh God.
I didn't
Yeah.
even think about Sindri. That's crazy that you brought up. I mean, maybe because I have Baron fresh in my mind, but my first thought was the Baron nightgown dress that Nami wears when she's getting information.
I mean, everybody needs a little black dress, like
Yeah.
right?
Come on.
Come on.
Everybody
Yeah,
everybody on the Chrono Pirates has a little black dress.
Yeah.
Correct.
Everybody.
For formal occasions.
Yes.
I have a 6XL tall T-shirt that I can be considered a dress.
That's the other thing too. It's like not only did Oda write this movie, he also very specifically designed all of the outfits for this movie: the formal wear, the adventure wear, and the onboard suits wear. So
And I think we could all agree who had the absolute lamest costume. Sanji.
yeah,
Like,
Sanji sucks.
actually,
Sanji just sucks.
He's trying to hijack the yeehaw energy, and
Does it work for you? Does it?
it did
Sanji?
not work out.
no.
I gotta say though,
I think at this point, like, maybe this is just me. But I feel like at this point, Oda's just like, why did I include this guy? Why is he here?
he's here to be a joke. Honestly,
He's literally like there are joke characters in this. Like, Brooke should be the joke character.
Yo.
Frankie should be the joke character based on looks alone. But no, the joke character, Sanji.
Also, like, especially in this movie, we're presented with Shiki, who is just dripping gross of, like, all of the, like, each subsequent baby Chen gets so much drippier and gross.
Slimy words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, still that. And then Sanji shows up on screen and you go, there's the villain.
It's funny too. It's like, as much as I hate Sanji and his outfit in this movie, the one I hate the most, which is probably going to have a reaction to, I think Oda did a great job in his illustrations. I think it looks better on paper, but I think in terms of animating, I didn't like Robin's sweater dress. There's something about, like, they changed her look too much. Like the glasses and the ponytail, where at the very end when she's fighting in like the mafia getup, like the really awesome formal wear, if she feels more Robin there than she does later. And there's also this great shot at the end where she's like coughing. She's inhaled something and she's covering her mouth. And I feel like that's the first time we've seen Robin look like Robin in a long time. Like, they got her nose perfectly. She's not her skin isn't extra light or anything like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They did her bangs and her hair correct too.
Well, also, it's the first time in the anime that they gave her brown eyes.
Yeah, and they did her pupils correctly. Like, so I feel like just because comparatively in that shot is so good. The very first shot of her in this movie, in the ponytail and the glasses and the sweater, it feels like it's just some other character. Like, I have to, like, I remind myself it's Robin, and like when she's speaking, because it just doesn't feel like Robin. And I don't know, like, it's just like, out of the three, the sweater, the glasses, and the ponytail, one of those three, if they got rid of one of those elements, I think it would have been better. But for whatever reason, the way that they animate her in that outfit, it just doesn't seem like Robin at all.
I'm gonna say that the worst outfit for me in this one is, it's another Robin one. I actually like the whole, like, sweater dress thing. I do agree that, like, there's too much happening and it kind of detracts from, like, the whole Robin-ness of it all. I think the glasses are fine. I think she loses the ponytail. Different
would even
hairstyle.
be better.
I think
Yeah.
changing the hairstyle to be something slightly different, not doing the ponytail, would have helped. But there is an orange and brown
The cami?
dress at the beginning of the movie. She only wears it for like 2 scenes, but it's this, like, it's just like, it's this orange dress with little brown dots on it, and it's got just like thin straps, and I'm just like, Robin, you know better than this. This does not work. This does not work. It's just like, maybe it's because of the fact that she's, like, in that scene, she's surrounded by the Sunny, which is also very orange and very, it's like, she just kind of
Verdant
blends
green.
into this. And it's just like, it's like, this is not working. But the outfit that she ends the movie in and the outfit that, like, they show up in, like, it's might be the most Robin stuff that
Yeah.
she ends the movie with.
When Robin is either in like a button-up shirt and like flood pants, like so that she can like properly, check out Skypiea, like she can go explore a little bit, or she's wearing like black, or she's wearing like leather. I feel like the best Robin outfit.
Her outfit at the end, where they're all rolling up, is this black leather trench coat. Then inside is a buttoned up to the cleavage dress shirt with a huge belt, like
I
the
love the belt.
world's
Yeah.
biggest
Love the
belt
belt.
buckle.
Final
It's like,
Fantasy
let's
level
go.
buck belt.
She's wearing tight black pants and wearing 4-inch high heels.
I don't
And
think
we're
she's wearing
talking-
pants. I think she's wearing a dress.
It's pants. It's 100%
Okay,
pants.
okay,
Like it's
okay.
definitely pants. Trust me, I
Let's go.
looked up to see if there was
I'm gonna take a little peek.
listen, I looked up, like, people have said tights could be it, but it definitely looks pantsish. It's just like an off purple kind of pant. So, well, you can't really tell. That said, she's wearing really high heels. And she's like, and also carrying the cannon. I'm just like, okay.
It's just
The question is there a figure of that? And second of all, I need it.
Look, if there was, we would have found it.
There may have been at some point. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's readily available for non, outside
Yeah.
of collectors.
It's just the beginning of the movie for Robin was Laundry Day. Just waiting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more than likely.
We're talking about outfits, and look, I love that. But
And
Al, what are your sort of like initial thoughts about the movie?
So, of the movies so far, like, one thing that happens in the show a lot is, like, when people are teaming up to deal with a problem, and that sometimes happens in the movies, but not, usually it's everybody's divided and they solve their one problem, and then they team up right at the end. And this is, like, the first movie where everybody is teaming up throughout the entire movie. And there's, like, several sequences where, like, one person sets up somebody, and then there's an attack, and that missed, but we already have this other attack going, and it's like they've trained working together in fighting, and you see it here, and that's really cool. It's like when you see a team being confident in how they're handling problems together. It's like you can see that they're on this level where they could stand a chance. Like, Luffy's gonna become the Pirate King, and there's this team of people supporting him, and they all know how to kick butt together. And
It's
I don't know.
it's like the
great.
writer knows the characters that they're writing for and presents challenges that make sense for them.
Strange.
Wild.
Sounds fake. We'll try again later. Kaden, what were your thoughts on your sort of surface level thoughts on Strong World?
So, surface level thoughts is that this definitely felt like Oda taking his shot at being just like, okay, let me take a look at the movies that have already come out. Let me take a look at them real close. All right, I'm going to take the elements I like from those movies and make my own movie, but you're going to feel the themes of some of those movies, but I'm going to do them my way. It's just like kind of like he glanced at the other movies like, I would have done that differently. I would have done that differently. I would have done that differently. So then Strong World comes out and it's like, hey, so I'm going to do those differently, but I'm going to do them again. Case in point, one of my favorite movie tropes, period, from One Piece is, and I say favorite, and I don't mean that, it's that, oh, look, let's kidnap Nami immediately. It happens a lot. So Oda's just like, let's do that, but slightly different. And let's have a twinge of trauma with it and add a dash of let's remember how Arlong treated her. Right there. And they'll just season that in there. And this movie felt like Nami's movie. Like, everything else aside, this movie felt like Nami's movie.
Totally agree.
And I say that despite the fact that Nami almost doesn't participate in anything in this movie, but thematically, this is Nami's movie. It also, like, this is very much a One Piece arc condensed down in the perfect sense. It has everything you need. An over-the-top villain that is completely ridiculous in every way, but takes things seriously. Some really goofy hench people who, like, seem really stupid on the surface level, but when you actually explore them a little bit deeper, it turns out they're incredibly smart.
And scary.
And scary, yeah. The localized damage versus the worldwide catastrophe that could happen. So you have that intimate, horror of, oh no, this is going to destroy our place, versus, oh no, this will eventually destroy everything. You get the military's perspective. You get the Marines taking a look at things right at the beginning, which is really nice because it sets some stuff up. And then you have, immediately cut to halfway through the movie. And I think I like the fact that it's like not given to you in order. Like there's information that's not given to you right away that the characters actually know because that happened in their past, but will happen in your future because they're going to get a flashback to it. And I like that style of things a little bit better, especially because it spices up what essentially is about a 2-hour movie. And makes it feel like it's shorter than it actually is, which is nice because if a movie feels its length and you were like, oh, well, that was enough, then it's like, I feel like it misses the mark. You always want a movie to feel like, oh, I really would like a little bit more. And this movie kind of gives you just enough of that. And there's a lot of great character interactions in it that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise. There's, of course, Big Brother Zorro hanging out with Chopper, which is one of my favorite things ever.
Iconic.
The adults going off,
Yeah, all
quote
the-
unquote,
all the-
going off and doing their own research and figuring stuff out and being tactical about it. They're all very normal about it.
Yeah. I also love that too because again, where this movie would sit right before Shibodi, but after Thriller Bark and after all of the Water 7 stuff, CP9 stuff or whatever. So I love that they're still teaming up like Frankie and Robin, and then now Brooke is now the new adult that's been added to the team, and he's
it's the parental team where
Yeah.
it's like you have fun dad, you have pervert dad, and mom Robin.
mom. Yeah.
And they all pay taxes.
And the thing is fun dad and pervert dad can be either of the two depending on what day it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They going to church that day or what?
I also love they're because it's they just kind of got Brooke and they're still kind of working. They fought a little bit, but they fought together a little bit rather. But seeing their team up in the very beginning where he just slices all of the ants and they are just yeah, he did it, but we don't see it right away. And they're we trust him. We'll just walk through.
Yep.
It's totally fine. I love all those character moments that Oda added of all these team
Giving
ups.
him the moment of being offended that the bugs didn't even attack him just because he's a
That's
bone
rude.
man. Well, isn't that just rude? Not even just these bugs.
I'm worth nothing to you?
Exactly.
The indignant his indignant attitude is just what? It's I still have feelings.
I love there's a pause too. While it's we cut while Frankie's talking to see Brooke's reaction, and he's not reacting. He's huh?
Brooke is
And then it cuts
100%
him-
on point this entire movie too.
It's incredible. It's one of my favorite examples of why Brooke is a great character. Honestly, it was
This is-
a great character piece for him.
This is both his first film appearance. This is his first time appearing in a movie. So this could be a lot of people's first exposure to him as a character. Because especially in America, this movie came out before the Thriller Bark set was dubbed. So this was if you're just watching in English, this would have been your introduction, and a phenomenal introduction. Yeah. In talking about this movie, Kate, you mentioned the villains, the plot, we're gonna I don't want to go beat by beat because I think a lot of the fun of it comes from experiencing certain things, but the way that Oda made this a personal story first, and then you get a thing that this could affect the entire world. Then they made it personal by giving you this interaction, this first interaction with Shiki and the crew, and then you slowly learn the global implications. First, the personal implications of, they're attacking the crew's, or most of the crew's home, but are they is Shiki attacking it for random reasons or very personal reasons. And there was a prequel manga and some anime filler to explain sort of like the history of Shiki and his involvement in the Roger era of pirates. And him going after East Blue is an attack on Roger posthumously to get back at him. Is like, look, you were my greatest rival. I got put in prison, and I know you're gone. You're dead and gone, but I'm still, to make myself feel better, I'm going to kill everything you ever loved and just destroy wherever you're from. And that then makes that personal and on top of, like, we care about East Blue as viewers because we lived a whole bunch of backstory.
Yeah.
Several arcs.
Yeah. And Caden, I think you might have, either it hasn't happened yet or you skipped the other filler arc, but I think it's kind of nice. There's an island called Little East Blue.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, I ended up watching it.
I think it's cute. I thought it was cute. and that's another like thing of where as the filler ends up becoming more kind of a promotion for the next movie, and I definitely think you should watch that. To our viewers out there, if you're interested in the movies or interested in One Piece, there is additional content for these to help set them up even better. But that slow reveal of Shiki. So I guess let's talk about Shiki, and I forget the ape's name of all things.
Scarlet.
Okay, Scarlet and Dr. Indigo, who, dear God, is Dr. I know we talk about clowns a lot on this show, but Dr. Indigo seems like a direct response to Buggy the Clown.
He's
Yes.
got fart shoes. He's got fart shoes. Okay.
So
He's got
everywhere
shoes that
he
fart
walks.
every time he walks.
Every step.
What was everybody's reactions when you heard the fart shoes?
I was giggling the
mean-
entire movie.
As somebody who's like watched like again like I watched these movies so long ago. I probably watched this one when it came out in Japan. Honestly, it's been a while. I forgot how much like I remember how powerful Shiki is supposed to be, like a guy who, you know, went up against Roger and lived. They make so many mentions of Garp and Sengoku, like that. I mean, like, again, two very powerful individuals who also like had done battle with them, survived, got thrown in literally the worst prison in this universe, and like bro cut his legs off to get out. And it's like,
Now he's got sword legs.
I just remember, I remember how powerful this guy is, but I forgot how many comedic bits they do
Dude.
with him and Dr. Indigo and Scarlet. And it's like, I forgot when we see this guy, when we see Nami get out of the pool and they show up and they're doing like,
They
they're
do a
doing
whole dance number.
They're doing like the rotoscope
so
like,
good.
dance.
Yeah.
And, like, it's
I was so amazed. I was just like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this is incredible.
I forgot that they like base because they're older too, so it's like older style comedy, like it's like 60s or 70s
It's
style.
vaudeville. It's
Yeah,
like
they-
super old.
I forgot that Oda had made a point. I mean, all One Piece villains are goofy, right? Almost every one of them has got some type of quirk or whatever.
This is a very serious
Totally-
series.
Totally forgot. They do
Fart
it so many
shoes.
times too. They do the specific joke too, where it's like Dr. Indigo, where he's like miming, and then he'll say something, and they go, "You can speak." Like they do that so many
But
times.
what's great is like the comedic rule of threes. The third time
Yeah.
he did it, Shiki goes, "Got it," and walks away.
And walks away. He understood.
He understood me.
Just
It's like I forgot like these great, again, like it's a movie about great characters, like pieces and lines and these moments, and I forgot like how great the comedy bits were for these guys, for like somebody who's like that fucking powerful, that insanely powerful, and then the first thing you see him is like rotoscope dance of him and his like two lackeys. It's like really, really smooth animation.
it's a good precursor to like diffuse
Yeah.
everything that's about to happen, and be like, oh well, they're funny. So
Yeah.
they're not completely irredeemable, though they 100% are. But as movie characters, it makes them more entertaining to watch, and like when the dance intro, I completely forgot and immediate. I think also that the fart shoes are an apology for the sword walk cycle
Oh, probably. I'm sure.
of just the ding, 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 ding. Like, we need to make something better.
Yeah. It's so funny too, because the very first thing I want to talk about too is the stakes in this movie. How like
Take it.
all the other so just real quick,
stakes.
all the other times in the One Piece movies, right? You're watching and they're trying to
Meat.
set up. They're trying to set up, right, the big epic fight with Luffy in the end. You know it's gonna be fucking crazy. They set aside 30 fucking minutes of the movie because they know it's like they're gonna put so much animation there. It's gonna be great. But sometimes it doesn't, right? When you watch an anime movie, your first thought often is that, if you've watched many in the past, is that this is a standalone movie. It means nothing to the the main series, so it doesn't count. And your heroes are going to get out of it because obviously the show is still going on or the manga is still being released. Like, how big are the stakes? How can they actually be that big when XYZ you already realize is going to happen? But for some reason in this movie, Oda does such a good job, and I'm still trying to figure out how and why it all works out. But the stakes in this movie, it's just, they feel so like they're on par with Baron, right? But Baron had more horror elements to it. But I guess maybe this one is more personal because even if previous movies that had nothing to do with Oda mentioned the East Blue or would threaten something very personal to Luffy, like his hat or the crew or the ship, there's something that's like, when the show creator is working on it, there's a little bit more gravitas to it. So when Oda's like, no, this guy's gonna threaten literally the entire East Blue, like I feel like I was like, oh,
It's like everything that brought us here. Like it's at risk. The nostalgia you feel for the beginning of the series could be destroyed here. And it's like, oh, okay.
but the weight
He
in
could
this
do that.
movie-
That guy is allowed to do that.
it's like he means it. Like this if it's ever gonna happen, it's gonna be this guy. I don't know. I love that. Like, and again, it's like a complete juxtaposition to what we were just talking about, like how funny these bad guys are. And it's like that one of the only guy who's ever escaped from Impel Down, right? Cut his legs off, like went up against the Pirate King and lived. Went up against Garp, went up against Sengoku and lived. Like that, it's like that he's doing all these really funny comedy bits, but it's like he's such a good villain in this.
When we get to Strong World, he's the reason Strong World exists. Like, all of those islands are floating in the sky because he decided they should.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is powerful. He's kind of scary, and he's just, like, goofing off, and then, oh shit, how much power does this guy have?
I think something that helps is we get that personal connection of them saving them from the storm, and Shiki coming to the crew and being like, I like you guys, well, like you want to go to East Blue, and like looking the remembrance after that of, oh my god, he's just gonna make them watch, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But that personal connection, and him similarly to which like Caden, I think you said this is the greatest hits of the movies, but also some of the story arcs too, though I guess technically this is a movie, so this counts as well, but of Mr. 2 interacting with the crew and
exactly.
shape-shifting, and then all of a sudden it becomes a really big problem.
Yeah, it's so funny. I had that same thought too, where it's because like this guy comes onto the ship and you're like, oh no. We as viewers have already seen him mess up Marineford. Like the very first part of the movie is like Sengoku and Garp sweating. And then it's like you see him land and even everybody's like, because he's floating. And then he sits down and then there's like this instant camaraderie where it's like Luffy's like, hey, old man, this and that. And he's like, ha ha ha, I like you guys. And you're like, that was my first thought, was that it reminded me of Bonchan, where it was just like, this guy's trouble, but he's still like playing along, or there's something there where you're like, oof.
This is another case, though. This is another case of Oda giving a really fucking adorable named devil fruit to one of the most terrifying people on the planet. It's just like, oh, the thing is
Fua.
like it's the float fruit. It makes things float. So fua, and it's like, y'all gonna give it to the sword leg man? Y'all gonna give him fua? Fua? Really? To the sword leg man, fua. Okay. All right, Oda.
He's got
All right.
part of a ship's helm in his head.
Yeah.
He's trying to. He's one of the strongest men in the world. And we're giving him fua. Okay. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just clarifying, Mr. Oda. Just clarifying that we're going with fua on this one.
It's
All right.
not the fall that kills you, it's the sudden stop.
It's the sudden fua.
I do love too, like when we first see him, we're seeing great examples of his devil fruit. Like he's and his entire ship is flying, and then we see the strong world, like the islands he's stolen from Earth that are flying, and even like him throwing the dial to hear what they were yelling about. Like it's very like gentle, or there's practicality to it, right? But you haven't seen him in fight mode yet. Even flying, like, sure, but that's a little less threatening. That's just more of like in terms of the genre in anime. But then it's like towards like when he gets serious, when they the very first time the crew fights Shiki, and then at the end when Luffy's fighting Shiki, and the man can just like summon lions, like somehow with this devil fruit, like that he can turn Earth because he's
touched it.
Because he's touched it. He's controlling the flying islands where he can just shapeshift Earth to look like lions, and then can make air turn into like a really powerful lion. Like, it's just crazy.
Sometimes it just be like that, though.
It do. And he's also a very accomplished swordsman, sword legman,
On par
which makes
with
him like
Zoro.
Because he's deflecting, like, all the cannon slashes. It's not an easy feat.
monsterful.
Because he's got... his feet are swords.
So the crew gets split up, and you mentioned the different character dynamics. We talked a bit about the adults, the Babysitters Club, but in terms of Zoro and Chopper, that's one of my favorite team ups.
Agreed.
Yes.
Always of just like very scary man, and oh god, I need to watch High School Host Club again.
Musical?
All run Host Club High School.
Yes.
High School Host Club. Okay. Anyway, what you're talking about is that like big, tall, intimidating, scary one with very tiny, short, adorable, cute one. It's honestly their dynamic reminds me of, this is my older brother. He's really good at video games. And the older brother's just like, I actually don't play video games that often, but I'm just better than him. I don't plug in his controller because he doesn't, his controller isn't even real. I drew on a piece of cardboard and handed it to him, and he thinks it's fine. Anyway, hi.
And then the young one says, I knew all of that. I'm just happy to hang out with my older brother.
I love their dynamic, especially because like, Chopper in every sense of the word is a child or like a preteen.
He's
or
baby.
At least
Sweet
baby.
boy.
He baby, and he like very adamantly looks up to Zoro, and like is Zoro who's somebody who's too cool for school without saying outright I'm too cool for school, because it's uncool to say you're cool, right? But like always makes a point to like he's got Chopper's back, like he's showing Chopper the ropes a little bit without it being too blatant, like he's trying to set a good example of like what it means to be quote unquote a man, or just like standing up for your friends. Yeah, and I love that like Chopper is like, I mean he's grown exponentially since he's left his island. But I love that he's still Chopper, and like the perfect example of that is when Sanji and Usopp and Zoro and Chopper run into them at the island, and Zoro, Usopp, and Sanji are like, "Oh, hey, like it's you." Like Usopp's shocked, Zoro and Sanji are like, "Oh, it's this guy," and then Chopper's like, "Usopp, like Sanji, you're
And he
okay."
bounces off of Sanji to get to
give Zoro, give Usopp a hug. It's like so sweet. Even where they are in terms of like relationships, like Zoro and Sanji are always going to be versus like Nakama or like besties or family, right? They're more of like, we work together. You know, that's like the nicest way to phrase it, that they work
Professional
together.
acquaintances.
We're
Yeah,
co-workers, and that's it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
work
and
on the
it's like-
same ship. I just have to deal with this cook all the time.
In any other movie and in any other arc, the two of them are always at each other's throats, right? But there's like even like a maturity gap here where they don't like each other, but there's no like moments where they're fighting each other directly. And we even get a quick team up with them where Sanji like kicks Zoro, like he specifically calls him out when they're first attacking Shiki. And we even see a team up with them where Sanji like throws him at Shiki so that he can get in there, and then Usopp pushes him forward by shooting. But it's like we don't normally get to see team ups like that between them because it's like, you know,
It
cat
was
and
so
dog.
cool.
Yeah, and it's like imagine what they could do if they could put their differences aside, right? But even like
Never.
No.
Exactly. I know it'll never happen. I totally get that. But even like to this movie's detriment, it's like even if they can just bench it for a second and do something like that, like it's just like crazy.
Hard pass.
I don't want to see it. What I do want to see more of is the Usopp and Sanji on-screen thing where by default Usopp becomes the adult because he has to be.
Yeah.
And giving Usopp the opportunity to step up because he's by default the most responsible person. I found that entertaining with their little road to thing. And I would like to see more. I like the whole crew interaction, of course, but more times to let character interactions that we don't see very often to let characters be their best is huge. And I think we saw that with the adults in Brooke getting a little bit too hot and taking care of all of the bugs. Frankie hot wiring animals to become motorcycles.
I love that he
That was
hasn't killed them
incredible.
either. They're
He
still
kept
alive.
trying.
Incredible.
He did it twice though.
Yeah. The shrimp and the mantis, so good.
And of course Robin being a spy and also just being very personable and just like, yeah, I'll talk to people even if they're absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
But this movie served up a whole bunch of great character interactions and clown
They're fart shoes. Call them
And
what they
a
are.
clown.
fart shoes.
Call them fart shoes. That's what they are. They're the fart shoes.
So Kane, you mentioned this being sort of like a best of like movie tropes. We got a village in peril full of people we've never met before. We got Zoro somehow being more intuitive about everything that's going on despite knowing how to go left versus right.
I pointed that out. I pointed that out in a separate movie, and I noticed that they did it again.
Yeah,
and
this
it's
is
Yeah.
just, it's
literally
such a
just Otis was like, I'll do it better. I could do it.
Yeah, this was Clockwork Island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those just like I don't know. It's one of those things. They feel the need to show that Zoro is observant, but won't show his hand yet. And it's just like, not that Zoro is dumb. Like, how did you put it? You put it so perfectly this week, Al. What was it? The boy is sharp, but he's not smart.
He's a sharp lad, but not a smart lad.
Yeah. Right? Or it's like, it's that same, it's just, I think it's so interesting that they keep giving Zoro that. I mean, he wouldn't, if he was a complete idiot, he wouldn't be Luffy's secondhand man, right? He wouldn't be first mate. But I just think it's so interesting that they keep doing this same narrative with him.
It's just because he fits that role so well of just like, he's so in tune with everything, but he's blind. I think it's like his eyes are open to the things that are less obvious. So he's very much like, he'll be able to pick up on stuff that other people aren't. Meanwhile, the really obvious stuff just whizzes past him. Like, it's like, here's a direct, it's like, go left. All right. And he turns right and he's just like, it said go left, and then it had an arrow pointing this way, and he's got it upside down, and it's like,
What's the Drax quote where he's like, it's like it would not go over my head. My
reflexes are too fast.
jokes
That's
cannot
Zoro.
fly over my head.
Yeah.
My reflexes are too fast. I would catch it.
I feel like if Zoro made it to the bar, the first thing he would notice is, hey, isn't that bartender from...
Immediately, he'd just be like, That's that same dude from that other place.
Oh my God, that's that same guy, isn't it? And he's like, what are you talking about? We're trying to get information. I don't know.
He's like, well, fuck me, I guess.
Is that important? I guess not. All right. I guess I'm just going to sit here then.
And Caden, I totally agree that this is Nami's movie, because while the crew is fighting to like get Nami back and then act in the best efforts of East Blue, Nami is doing the main reminding of us of why East Blue matters, because the arc that people usually point to where that's where One Piece got me is Arlong Park. And by using that as the emotional anchor to get us in that place of like seeing Nojiko again and like, oh, this is that thing that I always wear but I never reference, this wristlet that my bracelet, I did it again, that my that my sister gave me that you knew that I always had. Well, here's a reminder that I wear that all the time. And here's that tie to that island. Nami's the only person actively doing stuff until Act 3. She's not a damsel in distress. It's exactly how Luffy puts it. She is not waiting to be rescued. She was the first attack, and we are the main force. Ugh, what a line.
Yeah, the Vanguard.
Yeah.
It's like, it's when you've watched all the other One Piece movies and then you watch this movie where Oda has written the script, it's like not even somebody who gets the assignment. It's the guy who created these characters.
Yeah, he wrote the test.
He's like
Professor Oda.
Yeah, exactly.
He's showing you the answer key is what's happening in this movie.
So yeah, it's like, sure, Nami gets kidnapped, but it's like, that's not the point. The point isn't that Nami's waiting to be rescued because she's the girl. Like, it's that, she got kidnapped and she's, using that to her advantage and subsequently like getting out. Like, and
I do tire of that plot device.
I know.
It happens every single arc and saga. It's just like, who's going to get kidnapped? Oh, I don't know. Is it Daphne Blake of the...
without spoiling anything, Caden, I do think this is like the last movie where that's like a big narrative. But even
Molly,
here,
that
it's
does
like
spoil something.
Well,
Molly,
spoil it in a
I
good
can't believe
way.
you spoiled that for me.
That should be a good thing, though.
I mean, the plots of the other two movies they made it so that it's not a possibility.
But even when Nami gets kidnapped, it's progresses the plot because the big bad guy is just throwing plot devices at her.
It's not like Clockwork Island where they put her in a wedding dress and she goes, "Oh, save me!" But the second she gets captured, she immediately starts looking for a way. She like looks at the building, goes, "I can get out of that," and then just starts figuring out a way to break out. And then Shiki does the stupidest thing of introducing an animal companion in the form of Billy or Beery, which, however, I'm going to say Billy because that's easier. But
Billy,
Luffy's,
the lightning duck phoenix.
with
Chicken.
peacock feathers.
There's a lot of animals.
I think he's. I mean, they make him look like a peacock, but I think the impression is supposed to be a thunderbird.
Yeah, he's a mix between the Thunderbird and a phoenix because he's got that he literally does like the phoenix pose several times in the movie. It's like, look at him go. I love Billy.
It's Zapdos and Ho-Oh mixed together.
I love that. All right, I just want to throw some appreciation to like the monster and creature design in One Piece. Like we got to see this in full force, and there were some designs that were just like absolutely incredible. And then, and please tell me when you recognize what I'm going to say next. There is a scene where they removed these trees from the area, and this entire area
green.
is about to get assaulted by all the monsters because the trees are like this barrier. Trees are gone, and then all the monsters come, and you see all these different designs, some you've seen before, some that are new. And I literally say, it's like, yeah, these designs are really great. And the moment that leaves my mouth, they cut to another shot of one particular creature running on two legs, full sprint towards the camera. And I'm just like, I have to pause the movie right now. Now I'm laughing. They literally have this Kermit the Frog looking motherfucker just full on Muppet sprinting towards the camera. And I'm just like, I just praise you on creature design. And then you threw Kermit the Frog at me. And I
love
can't
that.
even deny that it's awesome.
You
But
thought.
also, why?
I love that because like I think like the next scene or the scene after that where they like are showing more of the creatures coming in, there's this dragonfly that's flying in that's holding a spear, and that also makes me laugh.
Wait a
where
minute.
it's like
So I actually don't remember the Kermit the Frog. So I'm scrolling through the wiki. Does anybody remember an ape on a snowboard with nunchucks?
yeah, that's
Yes.
the guy that was coming towards Sanji, right? And
I-
yeah,
He was running up the rope.
I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
It was like, Mark, it was like 1 second. It was so quick. It was just like, it was a bit where it was like, nothing's going to stop Sanji. They even like speed up him to get to the top of the tower because it's not the point.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's when he's going up to get. That's right. Okay.
To
okay,
get
okay.
Robin, yeah.
Yeah, I remember now because that's a Transformers figure that I had of Optimus Primal that morphed into a snowboard for some reason.
There's also one other creature design I want to point out. And because the moment I saw them, I was just like, oh, those are really cute. And then I saw what they actually did. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I know what this is. It's the tiny little bulls that were in the trees
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you know what they were?
No.
They
I mean,
were-
like aside from like Buffalo?
They were bullets.
That is amazing. I didn't get that one.
They literally shot out of the tree at super speed and pierced the ground and
embedded
made
into the ground.
bullet sound. And I'm just like, they're bullets.
That's
They
really
literally
funny.
made
Yo.
the bullets.
Little bulls.
Incredible.
You goddamn genius.
Like Oda was like, look, I need to get all of these dumb, wild ass ideas out of my head so that I can focus and actually get this movie done in 5 years. He says 9 years later.
Billy and all these creatures are a result of Shiki's experiments, right? Like the plant on Strong World called IQ is something that lets animals adapt in their lifetime. It's like a rapid evolution to whatever problem that they encounter.
Yeah, I think they had said that like the animals that they had found were already fighting animals, but they had introduced a drug to make them more violent and stronger.
Do you remember what that drug is called?
Go ahead, Al.
Sick.
Synthetic IQ, or SICK for short.
For sure. So sick.
It keeps coming back.
My favorite animal design though in this is in the very beginning, and it's sad. I mean, they gotta progress the plot. I get it, Oda. I'm not ragging on you. I promise. It's a great movie. Big fan, by the way. But I
Oda
love.
listens to the podcast.
Oh yeah,
You know it.
Big fan.
Friend of the show.
listens. Yeah, friend of the show. Oda's my dad. He works for One Piece. No, but the bear in the beginning. I remember
the sloth bear
seeing-
thing?
With the big
with the-
arms?
No, with the big arms. And I remember thinking, like, perfect. This is going to be a perfect matchup between Luffy and this bear because bear got long arm, Luffy got long arm. It's going to be great in terms of like a fight. And then Oda doesn't really use the bear arms at all. And I was like, what was the point? It was still great. I mean, we saw Gear 3. That's always big hype. But I was like, this is going to be such a great, quick fight. Because, like, again, like, both long arms or whatever. And then it was like, oh, okay. Okay. Maybe that was the point, though. Maybe it was, like, so obvious that there's no way it would have been. Like, Oda was like, you think you know, but you don't.
You thought. It was a great way to establish how strong Luffy is and what Luffy can do and be like, oh, that move was so hype. I can't wait to see him do it against whoever the bad guy is. And anytime it creates this buildup of Luffy using Gear 3rd, let alone Gear 2nd, to like get the job done, and he just keeps getting cut off until the final battle. And it's just me or fellow Dragon Ball fans is using Gear 2nd in the snow really giving you Kaioken vibes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Ultra Instinct.
Yeah, Ultra Instinct Luffy. Caden's not there yet, but with and it's also
That's suspicious.
There's nah, whatever. There's so many.
Whatever. Don't spoil anything. Don't spoil anything for Caden, but also
Luffy does hype stuff. Whatever.
You just spoiled all of One Piece. Luffy does hype stuff.
Oh shoot! So like it's interesting where we see some stuff that becomes canonized and is described as canon or accepted as canon from the movie, but the movie itself isn't canon, which is weird. So Daft Green is canon. It is the big trees before the time skip that Luffy leaves his hat on so that the animals don't bother it.
Yeah.
And so we get more information, and I think that was Oda being like, I want to use this more. I think there's something that I could use with this material that I haven't been able to, but I want to. Geez, I gotta get the story moving. Shiki is canon. He is referred to as canon. He's talking about it in World, and he is the only person that has escaped Impel Down. Sanji speaking gorilla, canon. Because he is an ape himself. Also, very ironic for Sanji to horny jail bonk the ape. You know,
Yeah. That's pretty
Yeah.
hypocritical.
What the hell
What's
is
up
up
with
with that?
pot and kettle. You know.
You know, but that's a classic gatekeep move. What an asshole.
Molly,
What?
you're very funny.
Yay!
You're on your game today, Molly.
Like I need to keep
Yay!
reminding you how funny you are. You're
Thank you. Well, that's what I
Remarkable.
requested. I requested that you guys slap in the list.
So I have some One Piece questions then. If you'll let me ask some questions about the whole like
we may or may not answer them.
about you. That's fine. I just want people to get interested. So
involved.
this is the first time that Oda's done a movie proper.
Yeah.
Fully written. He has He
Consulted.
dabbled. What was? I know in a previous movie he either designed character clothes or.
I mean, he's done stuff for the movies, but this is Oda's first movie as like
Yeah.
this is.
Yes.
I'm taking One Piece back from all of you. You're all idiots.
We're taking it back.
Right.
Basically,
Yeah.
it's like I let y'all drive around, the smaller version of my ship for a while, and I've seen what you've
That
done
was
with it.
cute.
That was
That was
really
cute.
adorable. I'm pulling it back into the fleet, and I'm taking control of this stuff. Oda takes care of the films from here on out, correct?
Yeah.
So here's my subtle thing. Do the movies beyond Strong World get referenced in canon in some way, shape, or form, even passively? Is this where the movies start being just like it's more canon?
It's
I think.
so it's a thing of similarly to this of there are parts of the movie that are canon and parts of the movie that get referenced, but it's not like
It's not like you need to see this.
It's
no,
just fun.
it's not required. It's not required viewing. It's required viewing if you're a fan because it's more adventures. But in the sense of like a canon story, it's not. There are certain things like we learn about characters that are canon, but the events of the movie are not canon. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It 100% does answer my question. It's like, I'm glad for that because this is my anime hot take. I hate
The spice.
when anime movies don't try to at least kind of like find a place. Because most shonen, and I'll say this, most shonen leave enough of gaps where it's just like, oh, I'm going to go off training for a while. Okay, during this time that blah, blah, blah went training, yada, 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 this fits here. And it doesn't even need to fit perfectly. It just needs to be wiggly enough to fit. And it doesn't need to be anything. It's like, there's so much Naruto stuff that's just like, yeah, this isn't really happening. Yeah, this isn't really.
Yeah.
None of this makes sense. Inuyasha does some very similar stuff where it's like, well, this can't possibly be. Like, you can't. This is just. This removes the whole like importance of them kissing later on. Like, this doesn't even
We
make.
killed Naraku.
There's like a lot, like all the One Piece stuff that we saw before. It was like, oh, this is really cool. none of this matters. And like, as cool as it is, I shouldn't get attached to any of this stuff. It's nice to have the attachment of, and I think this is why this is probably my second favorite One Piece movie that we've seen so far, is because the stuff that happened here, I can get attached to. As somebody who's been watching One Piece and like really investing, her time into all this nonsense, it's nice to be able to sit down and watch a clear-cut story that Oda wants to tell that is 2 hours and you're done, not several hundred episodes for an arc. And it's just like bing, bang, boom, we're right out at it. But we got the character interactions, we have the fun moments, we have the cool outfits, we have these things. And have it be just like, oh, they might talk about this later. They might say a thing once or twice. Have it matter. Have it not necessarily that it'll have weight, but that like it happened for them. Yeah. And it's not just me saying to myself very quietly, Baron Omatsuri could have fit here, and I can pretend it's canon if I really, really think hard enough.
Something to kind of entice you to, like, whenever maybe we do the next movie a little bit sooner. Like, the next movie is Film Z, and it gives you more information about some of our favorite characters in the Marines. But I personally feel like that's only because we don't have time to do that in the show. So it's like, here's the history of these certain people in the Marines. And the only reason that we can't do that in the show is because we're in the middle of Arc X, and there's no place to be like, well, let's hear about how they joined the military, like whatever. So Oda is designing these stories around like, there are nuggets of information that people have been wanting that I can't necessarily put in the current context, but I can put the information out there, and we can apply that information that you just got to a story that may not have a lot of consequences in the overall plot, but it's still a way to learn about these people. And to be like hyper modern for a second, unless they've announced it in between recording and release of the show, the rumored next movie is One Piece film Red, and it's supposed to be about Shanks.
Really?
What?
At Jump Festa last year, Oda predicted that 2021 was going to be a big year for a certain redhead, and of course, COVID pushed a lot of things back,
Nami.
and the movie
Veranicos.
I know. I thought Nami immediately.
And the movie's been pushed back to, I think, spring or summer of next year. But the leaked logo has Shanks' scar over the One Piece logo, and everybody's art has red accents. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I'm super interested in terms of where we are and up to date One Piece, what that means in general. Like that's crazy.
Like, I'll put the logo, like the movie logo, but Caden, don't go Googling just in case.
Not Googling anything.
Good. No. I'm just as a cursory warning for all the time.
Hey, don't
Hey, real quick, don't.
don't.
Trust me. Things have been spoiled for me because Twitter algorithm decides to, let's trend this. And it's like, cool. Now I know one tiny piece of information, and I'm going to try and not think about it as much as possible.
Oh,
Great.
God. And if it's anything that happened recently, you've got years.
Guess what? It was.
God, that's crazy though. I'm pretty plugged in. I mean, I follow the One Piece Twitter. I had no idea that there was already an announcement for the next film.
It's not necessarily an announcement. The announcement is happening soon,
Yo.
and all of the,
Sure.
and all of the stuff.
No,
leaks.
that's Shanks. That's a scar.
yeah.
That's
100%. But that coupled with Oda mentioning that Shanks was going to have a moment, and this doesn't necessarily spoil anything for you, Caden, but he hasn't really been present in the manga in a long time.
It'd been a minute.
So nobody thought that the next film would have something to do with him, but this could be that thing where, there's a whole bunch of stuff we haven't talked about with Shanks, but now we're going to
reconnect to the character and see everything that he was up to. Maybe
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would love even if this is just like a prequel. Like any information about Shanks. I think would be
Shanks
super
and Buggy
interesting.
this is a road movie with Shanks and Buggy as kids.
Oh my god, buddy cop.
But like honestly, there is a plot that already exists in the canon that could work for a story that we can't talk about yet because it's some stuff that happens a little bit more recent.
This is such shit. I'm so happy to know about this, but my mind is just running now. Like, I'm just like, why would he do this to us? Also, it's delayed till next year.
Molly, I hate to break it to you, but next year is in a month.
No.
Oh no.
Oh no.
If this movie was just like Kermit and Fozzie going to California, but they're fighting pirates, like
I don't know if you guys heard that.
Moving
When
right
Kate
along.
said that, my brain reset and I turned my head and I cracked my neck and it sounded
Oh.
like I cracked my brain.
Let us know if you want us to start covering the next couple of movies a little bit closer. We'll see if the time frames match up because the next movie does take place post time skip, so it should line up with everything. Like if like we want to do that early next year.
Yeah. Oh god, that's so cool though.
Yeah.
This movie though, I gotta say, like, out of all the One Piece movies, this one sticks out. Oda originally, I guess, when he was writing the script, it was gonna be super emotional, like more emotion based, and then he ended up scrapping it and putting something more action oriented in. But I think he still has this great emotional narrative, right? I mean, like everything with Nami. I mean, it's like even rewatching the end of this movie again, I teared up and got chills when they're playing the music and the quiet playing with Nami's message. It's like it's such a good way to end the film. I don't know. It hits on this great note where it's like it's everyone's done doubting Luffy at this point, right? It's like there's no changing his mind. There is no reason to doubt him anymore. Like, they're not going to be like, this guy's way too tough for Luffy. Like, they're like, yeah, Luffy's going to go crazy. And maybe he lost now, but we've seen him lose before and win, like come back and win again. So I don't know. The ending of this movie is just so good where Nami's like, dude, I know that you guys will lose your lives. This guy's way too tough. You've already lost and you'll lose again. And then for her to still be like, you know, to still be like, come get me. Like, it makes me so emotional in such a good way.
I can agree with that.
Character development.
part of the crew.
It's again, comparing to like Arlong, like that whole arc, Nami is trying to save people indirectly by like sacrificing herself and push people away, and she's taking all the burden on herself. And she's in a similar situation here, but she's just like, this guy sucks. He's way too strong. He's way too strong for Luffy. Come get me. Like, yo, 3:00, I'll meet you on the curb. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I again, somebody who knows the assignment.
Denny's
Oda's
parking
like,
lot.
Yeah. It's just like, I love that so much. And the ending is, it's just such a nice, it's just...
Thinking about Nami as one of the strongest characters on the crew, like legitimately, this, if it hasn't cemented for you already, because she can stare monsters in the face and she's already 10 steps ahead of them. I know exactly how I'm going to take you down. And she's the best strategist, like arguably on the Straw Hat crew, other than like maybe Usopp or Robin, of just like, okay, everybody chill. Here's what we're going to do. Let's go.
That one shot of Robin just like hand to hand passing dynamite into this.
Yeah, that was great. I love that though.
Yeah.
Oh god, and I just remembered the Zoro swords the door in, and then you see a foot poke
Yeah,
through.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, not like that.
I love the dialogue of Sanji being like, dude, that's lame. This is how you do it. And Usopp like, wait, because he's stuck. And even in the wide shot, you
background,
can see, in the wide shot, you can see Usopp getting unstuck and then running back to his place so that they're all lined up for Luffy. So good. I love it though. Again, it's like, it's a very serious moment, but there's still these great character moments there where it's like, they're not going to be themselves, because that would be like out of character, right? That wouldn't be them. And I love that they added that in, where like Usopp's like, I got this. Fuck. And then Sanji being like, fucking idiot. This is how you do it. Wait. And then, it's so good. I love that.
Also, not to keep harping on Dr. Indigo, but I just want to say that Ryusei Nakao is an absolute legend, and the fact that it's taken from a filler arc like early on in One Piece to this very I love Dr. Indigo so much as a villain, but also it wouldn't be as entertaining as it is without Ryusei Nakao. And like if you watch this in English, please go back and watch this in Japanese, like for many reasons. But if you watched Bleach, he was Kurotsuchi Mayuri. He was Frieza, for God's sake. Like to have him used in such a comedic place, and then he gets to revert to that evil, calculated performance that he's so known for. What a more please. Oh my God. Let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, this guy's just talented. I'm glad that like Oda was like, hold that thought. And perfect. We got the role. We got a perfect role. I made this character for you. Like
Maybe we'll see more of him. I don't know.
Al, what the hell does that mean?
Who knows?
you can say. I'll never tell.
I'll never tell. Let's pick up from the shootout, because that's the main beginning of our sort of final big. We haven't even talked about the inhabitants of the island. They're in danger anyway. We've been there. Moving on.
Yeah, like this. Can I like TLDR a bunch of this stuff?
Please.
Okay, the whole plot of this movie is almost inconsequential. Like almost none of it matters. Like it's literally just One Piece arc, paint by the numbers, yada yada yada. It's strong person does thing that's bad. Luffy hate. Go, go, go. Pretty much that's it. And of course there's like the people of the island who are blissfully unaware of just how evil. They know he's evil, but not just how evil he is. Like it's like, oh, it's the whole Skypiea situation. Almost exactly in several different situations, which again, not to lead people into wanting to watch the movie, but hey, if you watch Skypiea, maybe there's some subtle nods to some other stuff that happens.
Yes.
If you watch this movie and you understand it. Eyes on those people who are the indigenous folks of these islands. But
Yes.
they're just kind of like, well, we're just going to pretend he's not that super evil so long as we're being left alone, and we make do and everything like that. And that's kind of the whole point of it. And Luffy's just like, dream bigger than that. And it's like, all right, well, don't blow up the islands. No promises. Crap. And that's pretty much it. Like, the whole thing is just, that's it. The whole real emotional through line is, again, as we talked about, Nami's whole thing of just like, they don't directly say it, but every time she does that one look, you know she's thinking about Arlong and be like, this is just like Arlong, this is just like Arlong, this is just like Arlong. But after a couple minutes and a couple tries of like hitting that trauma wall again, she's just like, oh, but Luffy's here. The other Straw Hats are here. It's just like Arlong. I don't really have to worry about anything. It's going to be fine. It'll be fine. And that's really kind of just the whole point of this is to remind everybody, again, this whole movie is reminding you why you watched One Piece in the first place. It is Arlong arc in 2 hours to the nth degree. And with more characters.
With a movie budget, like the lighting and color choices.
It's super pretty. It's super beautiful. The set pieces are fantastic. The creature design is amazing. And that's really all you need to know about the plot of this movie.
So let's
But
talk
the
about the
finale-
sweet action scenes.
The finale is wild.
Yeah.
So good.
Like everything breaks down into the all right, there are folks fighting the generals, the legions, while Luffy, like the monster trio, take care of the big players, and then everybody else sort of deals with the B plot essentially. Al, what were some of your favorite things from the gunshot, the shootout, and these final fights?
I mean, the shootout part, like, has there been a moment in One Piece where they're just like, have we tried guns? Like,
Listen, my partner was like, drops jaws, like, where did they get the guns? I don't think I've ever seen them actually use guns.
Well, it has to be like just Frankie who puts a gun in everything, even
Well, that
a
doesn't
banana
count.
hat.
That's part of Frankie at that point. That's just what he has on him. This is just like, they have big, giant, cannon-sized guns.
Yeah, and old school pistols.
I'm sad we missed the scene where it's just like, Space Guy from the Lego movie is just Frankie is like, hey, could we use some of your guns, Frankie? He's just like, yes, you can.
I've been waiting so long.
Finally,
It's like,
I've had
Opens
these
all the
whole
secret
time.
compartments in the boat. Yes, look, there's some guns for you, Zoro, and this gun I specifically designed for you, Luffy. That's a really big musket, isn't it? It's like,
This one's a gun
loses
sword. This
his
one's
mind.
gun shoes. This one, Sanji, here's the gun shoes.
Knowing Frankie, it's a scene where he's making the banana gun hat, and Usopp's just like, well, you could just make a gun. And Frankie goes, what are you talking about?
drops the hat on the ground, like mouth opens wide.
it's a scene where they're getting dressed up, and Usopp is like, man, you know what we could be like it'd be real cool if we drop like the mafia, it'd be really cool if we had guns. And then Frankie's like, say no more, holds up the banana gun, and then Robin's like, I'm so sorry, there is a dress code though. And they're like,
Robin would
Okay.
immediately be just like, I'm not wearing that. I'm not wearing that.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
No. It's like, why not? It's embarrassing. It's like,
it also clashes with all of our outfits.
She
it doesn't
would
make
roast
sense.
them handily
Oh, yeah.
and immediately.
There's definitely a cutting room floor scene where all of them are putting on different hats that are different fruits that are guns, and they hand Robin this kiwi hat, and she's like, no.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Not happening.
There's something I love in the SBS portion of the manga, which is when viewers send in questions to Oda and he answers them every chapter.
And Oda just says, yeah, sure, why not?
No. There's this one I very distinctly remember because when he does these color spreads, right? He gets fun. Like the costuming is fun. One Piece is like kind of known for that, like that they're just wearing fun things in these color spreads. In the movies, they almost always have a different costume and things like that. Somebody specifically asked, like, because people like Luffy and Chopper and fucking Zoro are these people who aren't necessarily self-aware enough to be like, this will look cool. Somebody asked Oda, like, do they have enough self-awareness to do that? And if not, then how are they always wearing all of these fun things or dressing nicely? Because there's no way the stinkiest members of the crew, the people who wash once a week, would know like what swagger is. And
Robin sets
Oda-
everybody's clothes out every day.
Oda made a point. It's a category of 3, right? The most self-aware isn't the best self-aware, but could get dressed up, right? Like they know to wear matching socks and matching shoes, right? And then the people who are completely oblivious, the only reason that they are, dressed up or look cohesive at all is because one of the people in the first category talked them down or put them in an outfit type thing. And I love this scene at the end because I think it's Sanji, Nami, Robin, for maybe like one other crew. I'm trying to think who the third one or the fourth one would be. Have like the most self-awareness. Chopper, Luffy, Zoro have no self-awareness. And then I'm trying to think of what the gray area would be. But basically it's like when certain things are wearing certain things, it's because it's been suggested by someone like Nami or Sanji in terms of like fashion for the rest of the crew. And I that's why I keep saying Robin was like, there's a dress code and we are going to follow it, because Oda specifically has her down as somebody who's self-aware enough to know how to dress up for something.
Again, I mean, is she wrong? I mean, I love the banana hat, but the banana hat's for the boat. We're not
Yeah.
going to a party. I'm sorry.
banana
I'm
boat.
sorry. This is me to the rest of the crew of pirates. We are not going to a party, all right? Just so we're clear. We're not going to a party where any of you are wearing a banana hat. Or me, for that matter. I'm not wearing a banana hat. None of you are wearing a banana hat to a party. If it's on the ship, if it is in the comfort of our own area, wear the banana hat by all means. If we're going out, we're not. If we're going to dinner, we're not doing it.
The banana hat is only for good times and victory only. You don't show it up to get blood on it, all right? That's what the mafia black suits are for. You can't see blood on black.
Unrelated question. Can you return Amazon orders?
So all I heard was banana hat. So
That'll be for our victory parties.
I was ordering it while we were talking about it.
Yeah. Cancel the order. Cancel the order.
Cancel.
I just love this movie. I don't know. It's so refreshing after like not great.
And it's
animated
also
movies.
like Omatsuri is such a great horrifying story with a terrifying villain. And in this, Shiki is also terrifying. It just doesn't have the horror element, and there's more fun to be had. You want to see these guys get the crap beat out of them.
he's more like a world domination villain.
Yes, mustache twirler.
Yeah, but also like Oda, I'm pretty sure Oda Matsuri is like 20 minutes shorter at least than this movie. This movie was like 2 hours. I think the Baron movie was like more of a staple movie where like an hour 20, hour 30. So he even got like more time to be able to flesh out the story that he wanted. Like no one's going to tell Oda no, right? They're just going to be like, people are going to be willing to sit longer because you know it's like it's Mr. One Piece. Mr. One Piece has a story to tell. But that's the other thing I wanted to mention too. It's like comparing these two movies, there are elements that, you know, I see Oda giving a nod to, but then, and especially in other movies, but specifically this one, that the very last scene in the Baron movie where all of our nakama are all like twisted up into that you know fleshy arrow tree or whatever, they're twisted up in rock in this one. I thought that was very interesting that they did the reverse of that, where it was all of the crew at the time except for Luffy in the other movie, and this one didn't have every crew member in it, but it was all of the people who helped, I mean, and plus Chopper, but like all of the guys that helped Nami out during East Blue. I thought that was very interesting.
Well, also, Chopper was the person that cured Nami of the sickness, which is another callback of Nami getting sick in this movie, being a callback
Yeah.
to Drum Island. There's callbacks all over. Like this is a great starting point of like, oh, you want to know One Piece, the entire crew, and their character dynamics and their basic sort of interaction as like a piece to build to. This is a great movie to show, quote unquote, general anime fan. Respect, general, or maybe Colonel anime fan. But then to go back and
Private
then
anime
see
fan
those.
may need to skip it. It's not high ranked enough.
Can I as of 10 minutes ago,
Oh?
I happened to just check Twitter as we were talking. Funny, you know, we were just talking about this this One Piece film that's gonna come out, you know, soon.
Oh, did it happen? Did it happen?
Funimation tweeted 10 minutes ago, #breaking, One Piece film read officially announced, first teaser revealed, read on at, I'll share it in our Discord. We can cut this if we need to, but
No, we
Wow,
have to
what?
leave it in so that people
no,
don't
but I
send
also
us the
can't
link.
watch it.
Yeah,
oh
no.
yeah, I don't think it's spoilers because it's movie related.
No, but there's gonna be
I'll
stuff
put it
that
in
I shouldn't
spoilers.
know.
No. I know. I'm putting it in the spoiler chat though. Kate, that's all I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, please let Caden watch the show in One Piece.
Is the episode over?
How exciting is that though? That's so weird.
It
like
dropped while
20,
we were
30
recording. That's pretty cool.
30 minutes ago that you just happen to put this in front of me, and then immediately I see this image and I'm like, isn't this the thing we were just talking about? Crazy.
The teaser is just it's like the most teaser. The day and date is August 6th.
Wait, really?
That's what it says. August
We have to-
6th, 2022.
Oh man, we gotta wait 8 months. No.
9.
Kaden, you have 9 months to catch up, so we can all watch this movie.
It doesn't look like there's any spoiler. It's just sort of a reveal of a character.
It's interesting, the character though, because it's very clearly somebody designed for a movie. We're
Double
talking
Shanks.
about
It's Shanks on top of Shanks' shoulder.
it's Shanks. No, it's Shanks.
Shanks on Shanks on Shanks.
Oh no, wait.
Shanks's hot sister.
Wait. Okay, all right. we got first of all we got to wrap up this episode. Second
Sure,
of all,
yeah.
I want to say is like immediately what came to mind is like, oh, it's a movie about Shanks, obviously. Okay, so it's a movie about Shanks and probably Buggy, you know, after they bugged out from everything
out.
from the whole crew, and I'm thinking for a minute. What would the stupidest way to like put them together be? And I'm just like, oh, it's Buggy just like attaching all of his additional parts outside of Shanks, and they're just like, we have attained perfection. We have really revealed our new form, and it's just
The
like
perfect weapon.
Buggy's head on top of Shanks's head, just like Buggy's hands on Shanks's elbows, and just like all the additional parts of Buggy popping off of Shanks. Like, we are perfection now. We are Buganks.
This is what top performance looks like.
I just imagine them like, okay, being like, perfect. Now put the trench coat on so we can go see the R-rated film.
It's two boys in a trench coat.
Yeah, Buggy Boys. Final thoughts. Let's wrap this up.
Go ahead.
Good movie.
Final thoughts.
No, I was addressing the crew. Final thoughts.
I like one of my favorite little bits and bobs from this movie is that by the time production was over, Oda was like, "Oh, we don't know if any of the townspeople or animals survived. Can we put a scene on the Blu-ray where we just show like a nice thing where everybody survived?" And they're like, "Dude, you literally wrote everything. We will do anything that you want us to do." and so we did, and so that's this nice little thing of like, oh yeah, happy ending.
It was cute. I like that. This is a fun movie. It's a fun movie. It's One Piece. It's the energy drink of One Piece. It's the entire amount of energy in a single day inside of a can. You pop it open and then you get gummed in the face. And
It's crystal meth in a can.
Yeah, it's crystal.
Wow.
It's
One
just-
Piece is
it's-
crystal meth.
It really is just kind of like the tropes of One Piece boiled down to a single movie. And if you really, honestly, if anything, if you want to show anybody, this is my new, like, if you want people to get
Entry
interested in
point.
One Piece, this is like, here, watch this movie. It's like, if you don't like this movie, it's the best parts of this arc and this arc and this arc and this arc and this other movie and this other movie. It's all boiled down into about 2 hours. If you don't like any of the vibes coming off of this, then you could just skip One Piece entirely.
Yeah. Don't add us.
Yeah, it's just like it's here. Instead of watching an entire arc, or instead of watching the first like 60 episodes or anything like that, sit down, watch this movie. If you like the vibes, cool, go back and watch the whole thing, because this is One Piece at its basics. This is all the tropes, all the characters. These are going to be the people that you're going to get attached to the most. These are like all the little fun little things and what you can expect from One Piece in every sense of the word. So if you really have not, if you've just been watching or just been listening to us talk about One Piece and haven't actually started it yourself and you've gotten this far, just watch this movie. Just watch this movie, sit down, and if you like it, then really, legitimately, start watching One Piece. You'll very much enjoy it. If you don't, then just keep listening to the podcast, and we'll just keep prattling on about like different weird names and be just like, ha, this crazy thing happened. And you'll be
sickos
like,
about it.
neat.
Weird laugh of the week.
If you know nothing about One Piece, you watch this movie and you don't see the flashbacks of Nami's hot sister, and it doesn't make you want to watch One Piece, I can't help you.
Nami does have a hot sister.
You're beyond help at that point.
Beyond
So
hot.
great.
Al, do you have
Yeah.
any final thoughts on the movie?
There's some really cool moments in it. There's some really cool art design. Like even if you're not a One Piece fan and you're just an animation fan, it's a cool movie to watch. So like,
Dancing.
Oh, it's so good.
it's so good. I recommend the watch.
With the rotoscoping, I can say, if you liked Yuri on Ice, you'll like this movie.
For real though.
Yeah, this is a top-notch One Piece movie, and just a really fun anime movie that gives you everything that you could possibly want from this franchise. As fans, it'll be interesting to show this to somebody who's never seen One Piece and be like, oh, I want to watch the show now. But this starts the
I
trend.
want to watch the shonen.
This starts the trend of movies are getting better. Maybe there's a little bit more canon sprinkled in to the point where we're going to have a new movie next year at time of recording to completely like rip apart and just be like, what can we pull from this that can carry on in the canon of One Piece? But like Caden said, if you made it all the way through without watching the movie, you're crazy, but we appreciate you. Definitely watch Strong World. You can buy it wherever DVDs are sold because this is where Funimation like really started releasing the films and giving them proper releases. I just checked Amazon. It's like $15 for Blu-ray. That's awesome. So 100% go check it out.
Toss a coin to your Oda.
Also, like, just want to put it out there, but like the villain of this movie is voiced by the OG voice of Principal Kuno from Ranma, and
Oh my god!
yeah,
I didn't know that.
in the dub, because I watched the dub immediately because my partner and I were watching it together. Immediately they looked up and like, that's Principal Kuno, and I'm just like,
Incredible.
wow! I'm
Incredible
just like,
casting.
within like 2 seconds of them opening their mouth and speaking, it's like they were just like, that's Principal Kuno, and I was just like, yo, that was fast. Are you sure? And they're just like, I'm 100% sure. And then like 2 lines later, I'm just like, oh no, you're absolutely right. And then we had to double check because we're just like, we were both a little fast on that one. Were we 100% correct? We were both 100% correct. So it's the OG voice
It's funny
of
that you
Kuno.
say that though, because the subbed voice for Shiki is, now that you said that, even though you're talking about the dub, he kind of does sound like the sub voice actor for him as well. But I'm sure it's not. But like I immediately
It
pictured
could
him,
be.
and I can
It
hear
legitimately
his,
could be.
Hold on.
I can hear his Japanese. I
Which
can hear
show?
his Japanese voice.
Ranma.
Ranma 1/2.
Ranma.
Encyclopedia Quintanica is the only thing I wanted to say.
They are not the same.
Okay, it's very similar vibe though. That's crazy. That's awesome though. I'm glad you guys caught that.
It was immediate.
It's not. He doesn't do a lot of animation. The voice the actor is Naoto Takanaka, and he's got a lot of films under his belt. But when it comes to animation, not a lot, which is pretty rad.
Naoto Takanaka sounds super familiar. I'm sure I've heard that name before. Like immediately in my brain was like pinged for something.
I'd be surprised because it's a lot of like Japanese television and film, live action film.
Coincidentally, I watch a lot of both of those things.
Oh, great! No, that's great. Then I'm happy that
Yeah.
and also sang because he has a bunch of albums as well. Who is this man?
Kamen Rider. Boom. All right. Cool. All right. I'm good. Thank you. It's Kamen Rider.
Also Nick Fury, which is wild.
Wow.
Yeah, but we can go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole literally another day. But for now, before we go, let's have the crew tell you where you can follow them on social media. I just had a stroke. Let's start. let's start with Caden.
You can find me on Twitter, on Tumblr, on Instagram, and of course, on Twitch. And you can find me Caden Jensen, KDINJENZEN. You can find me on all those. I've been streaming a lot more. A lot more. In fact, quite a lot more. I've also been streaming with the Chrono Pirates. And you can check the Chrono Pirates out at twitch.tv/Yayo Talk Show, where we stream a bunch of stuff. Lots of things. Many things, in fact. And of course, you can find me on the Rooster Teeth website, and that's just Caden over there.
Al, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch at Al McClellan Jr., ALMCCLELLANDJR. I say it once at the end of every episode, so good luck.
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at Mark B. Donica. I stream on Twitch as well, but I tend to not have any sort of a dedicated schedule. But check it out for weird things like Tetris Effect, which literally blew my mind.
It's a great game.
Caden.
It's a great game.
I was vibing so hard, but then it was ruined by drinking Mountain Dew gingerbread snapped. So bad.
no.
But the game Awesome.
Game's great.
Captain, how about you?
I don't stream on Twitch, so don't look for me. Don't at me. No, you can find me on Twitter at Tehflod, TEHFLOD. Also on Tumblr as Molly Flood, Molly K Flood, and we also have a Yayo Talk Show Tumblr for just the memes, the fan art, GIFs, anything. Wherever we are currently in the podcast, you can be sure to find things being reblogged on the Tumblr.
Going along with how most films have ended, now that you've listened to the episode, you've got bird wings and can fly or whatever. But you've also joined our crew. With that comes the responsibility of telling your friends, leaving a comment, following us on Twitter and Twitch at Yayo Talk Show, and letting Caden watch the show and films in one piece. So come aboard, and we'll see you next time on Yayo Talk Show.
Talking about One Piece.